Twitter abuse happens so overwhelmingly, and it's a frequent enough occurrence in my life that I have a plan for when it happens at this point. So when a deluge of abuse starts coming in, I contact my partner and I contact a group of friends and I ask them to screen it for me and to sort out the ones that we think are reportable from ones that are just vile, and to just keep track of, if there are things I need to be aware of in terms of real threats and versus like just having to absorb the gross mountains, fire hose of abuse that's coming at me. And so I did that, and I got, sort of a list of tweets that they thought were actionable, and I reported them. And I always also feel like I don't know who I'm talking to. Like, it depends on who the moderator is going to be. So a number of the tweets were referencing or threatening me with Zyklon B, which is the gas they used to murder Jews in the ovens in concentration camps. But I knew, like, who knows if the moderators know what Zyklon B is? And so I wrote it in the little extra notes thing, but I have no idea if anyone reads that. I mean, you click report this tweet, and then you have a bunch of categories like it's offensive, or somebody's targeting me, or those sorts of things. You pick one, and it's never entirely clear to me what falls into which category, and if I categorize this particular thing wrong, whether they're going to be like, well, that's not that, and then nothing's going to happen. It's also never clear to me that if I click one of the sort of theoretically lesser categories, like this is offensive, I always feel like they're going to just roll their eyes at me, right? Like that only if I say I'm experiencing targeted abuse are they going to take it seriously, and even then, who knows? So reporting is, and even for me, who's done a lot of investigation into Twitter reporting, right? So I'm probably a super user at this point, but it's this locked box, and I don't really know, when I click those categories, whether I'm helping or hurting my case.
When I reported the first wave of abuse last February, I got no response. It was like this big black hole, and it just made me realize what it's like to report something and not be listened to or not be believed. And it was really frustrating. And I had to use my networks and my friends who had a bigger platform on social media and on Twitter to help me report the abuse, for them to take it seriously. But that shouldn't be the case. If somebody has violated the community guidelines, if somebody is being offensive and abusive online, Twitter should honor its own community guidelines. Twitter should be able to enforce its own rules, and it's not. And that is super frustrating for me.
To be really honest, I don't really report the abuse anymore. I used to, and I used to a lot, but I got really tired and disheartened when receiving the emails from Twitter where someone calling me any sort of names or wishing death upon me was not a violation of their terms of use. The social media reporting process is kind of extensive. It's definitely gotten better than in the past. I can report a tweet and then connect a number of tweets with it, so I can show that someone has been swarming me and that they have been relentlessly harassing me, and explain this is misogyny, this is racism, all of these things. But to be really honest, it's up to the person reviewing it as to whether they think that it is harassment. Someone telling me that I should have been aborted, or someone should kill me, or they should throw me in a fire or whatever, simply because they are anti-abortion, that's not considered a threat because that's their political stance. I've never met this person, I've never done anything to them, I don't reply to them, and yet they're allowed to say these things to me. The other thing that's complicated about their reporting stance is that someone can be reported, and in one case I reported them and their tweet was removed. And so then they went back online on Twitter and complained that me, this bitch, reported them. And so then sent their friends to attack me because I had reported them and they were forced to take a tweet down. When I report, I can't connect those two instances. So to the person reviewing it, basically just sees that, okay, he called her a bitch. They don't really consider that to be harassment, even though it is something that has been prolonged and that this person has been going after me for a while. The other thing that's just really difficult in the times that I have had sustained harassment for a week or two, up to like a month, where it's just ongoing. And I mean ongoing meaning I am getting a harassing tweet every couple of seconds to every couple of minutes, and definitely, by the hour when it starts to slow down. There's no way for me to report to Twitter that I am being swarmed by Nazis on their platform and to actually do something about it. I have to individually report every single tweet. And that means that I have to go in there and look at what Nazis and white supremacists are saying about me as a Black woman. And that's emotionally exhausting.
So I didn't personally report any. I was a bit overwhelmed by it and also really busy. But luckily I had friends and followers and community members that volunteered to go through my mentions and report all the abuse that I was receiving. So Twitter's response was varying. It was mainly silence. So a lot of the reports, I was told, actually didn't get any physical response. The most common response was that it didn't actually violate Twitter's terms and conditions. And there was actually one person that was successfully had their account deleted due to multiple reports. But most of it was silence, I was told. They never had anything back from Twitter, or it was often that it didn't actually affect the guidelines.